You wake up to a loud crash downstairs, not entirely uncommon in this house. You're quickly finding out, but still disconcerting. More clatters and thumps lead you to the kitchen, where Mabel teeters on a short stepladder in front of the pantry, sitting on her tiptoes. She reaches as high as she can for a small yellow box on the top shelf. Pancake mix. Is that what this is? There's nothing on these top shelves, so I don't know. I'm assuming it's this. I wonder what this note says. I don't know if that was there last time. Or maybe
I
I
didn't
wasn't
really
paying
look.
attention.
Ford was standing in front when we started looking at everything. Ford was.
Oh, that could have been it. Without a word, you go to her side and pluck the box from the shelf for her, placing it into her outstretched hand. Oh, Plutify, thank you. Greco Sam put it on the top shelf for some reason, but I need some Mabel cakes. It's a breakfast emergency. She waggles her free fingers in your face, and you can't help but laugh. You can tell this house becomes more alive when this kid's around. Want to help me make them? We only need chocolate milk, coffee, pink food coloring, a pot of gold O's to make this breakfast dream a breakfast reality. As delicious as that sounds, it almost sounds as good as Lazy Susan's coffee omelet.
Omelet, yeah.
I wonder how she makes them, guys. I don't know.
I don't know.
Delicious.
Ask Gideon, yes.
Ask Gideon. As delicious as that sounds, you're inclined to ask where the coffee comes into the mix when you realize this house is suspiciously quiet. Mabel, where is everybody? Oh, Grunkle Stan needed some stuff for your car, so we went to go get the mechy techie stuff for that. I think Uncle Ford's somewhere. I heard the abominable Broman was trying to steal the soda from the campers, so he went to help them out. Yep, that's where he went. Totally knew that. So they left you guys to make breakfast on your own? You don't know the family well enough yet to know this is commonplace, so the idea of leaving two teenagers alone to fend for themselves seems fine. If one of the teenagers wasn't Mabel anyway. You still don't know how coffee fits into her Mabel cakes, but now you really don't want to know. Dipper attempts to hide the pancake mix from Mabel while she's grabbing the chocolate milk from the fridge. Apparently he doesn't want to find out either. Mabel, while your Mabel cakes sound absolutely divine, why don't we... Quick, think of something so you don't hurt her feelings. Go out for breakfast.
Go out for breakfast.
Dipper, can you cook? It's so funny. Dipper, can you cook?
We could say and find out and see which one, if one of them hurts your feelings.
I think go out for breakfast is better. Is there somewhere we can go for breakfast? We could really save the Mabel cakes till your great uncles get back. I know they wouldn't want to miss them. But I want to perfect my recipe. I have to get better at cooking and baking and stuff so I can survive out there in the world. What if in high school I had the bake stuff and people are better than me? Mabel looks very agitated, tugging at her hair with both hands. If I can't make the perfect Mabel cakes, I can never be on Bad Dreams Dining. I gotta impress Gerald Rambo and Plutify, it's my destiny. Quick, think of something so you don't hurt her feelings.
Oh man.
Dipper, can you cook? Maybe Dipper can help you make something different. We should leave the Mabel cakes for another day, a more special day. But Plutify? Mabel, we're still standing on the step ladder, reaches up and squishes your cheeks together, her wide eyes staring into your soul. Every day is a special day with Mabel cakes. You go to Dipper making up. Please help me and I'll buy you breakfast, face, and you hope he understands. Oh yeah, Mabel. I know you want to cook more since you're becoming an adult. Sure, but don't you think Grunkle Stan and Great Uncle Ford should be here to try him too, and not just me? Again? Mabel hops up the stepladder and ponders her brother's questions, lips pursed. Eventually, she nods, beaming at you both. You're right, Dipper. I can't deny that experience. You give Dipper a thankful smile over Mabel's head and as she puts the ingredients back in the refrigerator. He grins back at you, rubbing the back of his neck. You wonder if he got that one from one of his grunkles. It's clever now that you think about it. Great plus uncle to make grunkle. Saves time on syllables. We should go to Greasy's. They have the best pancakes there. We like 3 different kinds of syrup if you ask Lazy Susan nicely. Oh, with like. Yeah, it's not super far. Let's go. The kids are about to head out of the kitchen when you realize something. Wait, aren't you gonna leave a note for your grunkles about where we're going? Oh, right. Good call. Dipper scribbles out a note for Stan and Ford and sticks it on the front door of the shack with one of Mabel's stickers. I'm sorry guys, like I don't care about any of this, just show me Ford. Like, not to be rude. You know what I'm here for. The kids lead the way out into the town, explaining various landmarks and the wild and wonderful stories attached to them along the way. And this is where we saw those 2 ghostly old people. In a convenience store? Strange, but you nod regardless. Maybe she just meant they were so old they looked like ghosts. Though after what you heard about Gravity Falls already, you could believe they were real ghosts. Dipper points out the diner in the distance, a log-shaped building atop a train car, and the three of you head inside. You soon realize that the kids know just about everyone in this town. Several people, young and old, wave at them as the three of you find a table, and you get the feeling that they're almost famous in Gravity Falls, so you're not entirely sure why. They're pretty cute though. Mabel blows the paper wrapper of her straw at Dipper's face, and he retaliates by swatting her with the laminated menu. An elderly woman in a pastel pink white dress comes up to the table, and you catch the name on her tag, Susan. Hiya, kids! And stranger! What can I get for ya? I tried to do her voice, but it wasn't. I'll just do it normal.
Yeah, such an odd voice. It's hard.
Pancakes and all 3 syrups for me, please, Lazy Susan. Same for me, actually. Lazy Susan turns to you, notepad in hand. What will you get? I like waffles or scrambled eggs and bacon.
Not waffles.
Can I please get the waffles?
Please get waffles. The waffles will bring up bad memories.
Can I please get the waffle? We can get scrambled eggs and bacon, and I'll eat the eggs and you eat the bacon. How about that?
Okay. But wait, aren't you vegetarian? Aren't you vegan?
I'm not a dirty vegan. No hate.
Aren't you a vegan, Molly? Aren't you a vegan?
Coming right up, sweetie. I'll just do it normal. Lazy Susan winks with her good eye, of course, and heads back to the diner. Guys, is this Riz? You wait for your food to arrive, and it feels longer here than most. Mainly due to Mabel and Dipper's using their time to interrogate you. At first it's somewhat intimidating. You literally crashed into their house and started hanging out with their great uncles, so they have lots of questions. Once the irrational fear of the 2 13-year-olds fades out, you recognize their interview for what it really is. They care about their grunkles. If you do start hanging out with them more, they want to know as much about you as possible. Oh, we're not just going to be hanging out. We're going to be... Whoa. Mabel's questions are somewhat nonsensical. So if you were stranded on a desert island with no boat, no cheating, what would you take with you? Well, Dippers are more careful and calculated. What were you doing before you came here? School? Work? Both? Neither? Did you know about Gravity Falls before you crashed into the shack? You immediately knew which grunkle each one takes after. Stan and Mabel, goofy partners in crime, versus the quiet brainiacs, Ford and Dipper. It's an intriguing contrast, especially now that you're thrown into the middle of the bunch. But the twins race to see which syrup bottle drips into their mouths the fastest. Dipper's blueberry syrup beats Mabel's classic maple by half a millisecond. You swear on it. You know that these kids do a lot more for their great-uncles than just be cute counterparts. And here we go. Enjoy, kiddos. Let me know if you need anything else. Lazy Susan gives out their respective plates and the kids go quiet, shoveling down their food like they've never been fed before. That's actually me, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Between mouthfuls, you get a few more questions about yourself and your theories on aliens versus which member of the M Synchronized was your favorite. But the table is near silent as the 3 of you eat. That is until Mabel speaks up through a mouthful of pancakes. So Pluto, if a totally made up and not real situation you had to pick who your favorite was, who'd you pick? Grunkle Stan or Grunkle Ford? This seems too plain compared to her other cutesy questions. Dipper elbows his sister not so subtly and she elbows him right back. Wide eyes staring at him in a sibling-linked look that you can't decipher. Say, you're in a movie. Like one of those weird movies Grunkle Stan watches on TV with the ladies in poofy dresses riding horses. Awfully specific, but you let her continue taking another bite of your food. You're the main character of this movie, and you've got 2 guys who are both madly in love with you. Oh, I like where this is going. Oh! This one doesn't mess around with getting right to the point, huh? But you could only marry one of them, so you could be the next in line for the throne. What would you do? If Grunkle Stan and Grunkle Ford were your choices, who would you go with? Hey, well, that's kind of weird, isn't it? Like, really weird. And kind of gross. Come on, Dipper, this is important information that's vital to my research. What research? None of your business. Yet I'm still gathering other research. Mabel leans towards Dipper ear to whisper, waggling her eyebrows at you before she replies, and not a whisper, but quite the opposite. Research into how you're a huge nerd. And with that, Mabel catapults a spoonful of melted butter from atop her pancakes onto Dipper's cheek with a very satisfying splat. Dipper jerks in disgust but retaliates by smearing strawberry syrup onto Mabel's nose, a drop of stickiness plopping under her sweater. Ew, gross. You're gross. There's no vitriol between the twins. but lots of giggles and a few more various food missiles. Eventually, syrup streaks Mabel's cheekbones and some of her hair, and Dipper has a small piece of pancake stuck to his face. You guys are dorks. Maybe you're right, but we're twins, so it's adorable. If you say so, Mabel. Wait, quick, Plutify, take a picture of us while Dipper's got pancake on his face. I have what? He sweats quickly at his face and after several passes gets it off. Oh, I was trying to get more candid pictures of us. Mabel, you have syrup everywhere. Oh, really? Ugh, they would have been the perfect photo. Here, let me get it. Your hands are sticky enough. You get back with a napkin in hand and try to wipe some of the syrup off Maple's cheeks. The excess syrup swipes off easily, but a good portion doesn't budge. I mean, maybe syrup as makeup is the next new look. That's one word for it, kid. I would pick Ford. Mabel, I would pick Ford. Tell him. Tell him. We wondered where you went once we came back to a suspiciously quiet house. If it weren't for Dipper's note, we would have been worried. Sixer would have been worried. I tried to tell him you kids pull this kind of stuff all the time. Heading out unannounced, putting stress on your poor old grunkle's heart. He puts a hand over his heart nervously. All those missing hours of unpaid child labor. Actually, that note wasn't me. Well, I wrote it, but Plutify is the one who said we should, so that you know where we went. Both Ford and Stan turned to look at you, surprised. Really, I figured these two knuckleheads dragged you here. Why not make breakfast at home? This place is at least 15-minute walk from the shack. Well, he glanced at Dipper, swiping a finger across Mabel's cheek and licking the blueberry syrup off. Mabel has a pancake in her mouth, chewing it like a grazing sheep. I wanted to treat them to something, I guess. It's the least I can do. You're letting me stay with you and fixing my car. I thought since you were gone, I'd take these out too for a change. Okay, well, to be fair, he's also the one who crashed your car, so...
Yeah, to be fair.
You really don't need to be returning any favors. I mean, he can give me a favor, so... if it's of a sexual nature. Also, Mabel was gonna make Mabel cakes again. You're just mad you can't even make toast right. What? Yes, I can. I burned it one time. One time. Dipper holds his syrup-tipped finger in the air, indignant. Well, Mabel wanted you guys to enjoy her Mabel cakes too, and since there wasn't much food, I figured I'd take them out. Stan snatches a pancake from Mabel's mouth and takes a bite out of it. What the heck? I was not done. Cackling when she stands on the seat to try and grab it back. Climbing over Dipper to reach. Aside from the kerfuffle, you catch Ford's eye. Was he staring at you? As soon as he realizes, he quickly sets his gaze elsewhere, looking over your head and out into the window. You'd say that he probably just shifted his attention, but his finger hooks under the high neck of his sweater and tugs at it. Ooh, he's nervous. Well... he's blushing. I need to bend him over right now, bro. You don't even understand. Wow, blah blah blah. Backstory stuff. Well, Plutify, I really appreciate you looking after Dipper and Mabel from us. It was very kind of you to bring them here. Oh, it wasn't a big deal, really. I'm happy to help. You smile at him, pretending you don't feel how warm your face is. Maybe it's just hot and greasy. Ford looks close to the shade of his sweater. Dipper mumbles an ow, and you catch Mabel elbowing his side, wagging her brows at him. You're not sure why. Well, kid, if you're paying, scoot over, Dipper. I want breakfast too. Stanley, it's at least 12:30 now. Uncle Ford, that means it's time for brunch, duh. What?
Hey, my computer lost Wi-Fi, so I switched to my phone, but I did miss a portion of that.
Okay, so basically what happened is that he was, like, really impressed that we, took them out for breakfast, and he, like, blushed, and we caught him looking at us, and he looked away, like, nervous and stuff, and he was, like, blushing. He was like, wow, thanks for looking after them for us.
Yeah.
And then Mabel elbowed Dipper, being like, ooh, I told you so. I really appreciate you looking after them for me. I mean, us. You didn't do it for me. I did do it for you, Ford. I did. Uncle Ford, that means it's time for brunch. Duh. See, this kid gets me. Now let me in so I can get some grub. Dipper moves to your side of the booth as Stan sits next to Mabel, and Ford sits at Dipper's side. Lazy Susan comes back and takes your order for another round of food and drinks for everyone, including Mabel, who decided she wants more pancakes. You're starting to regret offering to pay, but as Stan and Mabel try their hand at the syrup drip race with Dipper cheering them on, Ford watching with a wide grin on his face, you know you don't really mind that much. I'll pay for my Pookie any day of the week. After the expedition, to find Mothman, you accompanied Ford on a few other missions, so to speak, examining various birds of the forest, including the questionable stomach-faced duck, who snatched your sandwich and quickly ran off. Ford hot in pursuit.
Oh, what the hell?
While he didn't find what evidence he needed, something to do with their digestive systems, you both decided that the stomach-faced duck's flock were questionable. Not as questionable as the question snail, or question quail, which he shows you from a scanned journal page, but still questionable. You asked why he decided the octopus was too stupid to study, but received a loud groan and too sticky as an answer. Valid point.
My octopus is also sticky when Ford's
Yours
around.
will be. All in all, your adventure with Ford had been more enjoyable than you expected, and you can't help but hope that you'll get to experience another one with him soon. You walk through the living room, lost in thought about question quails and Ford's journal pages, and narrowly avoid slipping on a sheet of graph paper. Ah, don't look! Oh, it's you. Dipper peers over the book that proclaims D, D, and more D, officially licensed campaign journal. He's sitting on the yellow armchair with crisscross legs, barricaded in books and papers. He's got a lap of multicolored dice and half a dozen chewed pencils strewn across the floor, and one in his mouth. You look down and notice the floor is almost entirely covered in graph paper. Hi. Did you need something? I know it's kind of messy. I should probably clean that up. Dipper looks reluctant to extract himself from his self-constructed fantasy lore prison. Here, I can do it. You look busy. You're about halfway through cleaning the floor before you actually start looking at what's on the various sheets you're holding. A fantasy map, some floor plans, a countless scribbled notes, and calculations in the margins. What are these for? Planning something? Dipper's re-immersed in his planning. He startles a little when you ask. Oh, right. No big deal. It's just for this great pen and paper role-playing game called Dungeons, Dungeons, and More Dungeons. DD and MD for short. It's about fantasy worlds and statistics and swords, and well, it's kind of difficult to explain, but it's super fun. I'm playing with Grunkle 4 today, so I'm just putting down the final touches on my dungeon. He's gonna be so stumped. Stumped, you say? Ford comes into the room at that precise moment, drying his hands on his trench coat. Perfect timing, Dipper. I just managed to get the paint off my hands. Paint from what? Oh, one of the gnomes came by and decided he'd graffiti the side of the house. Something about his rapper persona. Yeesh. Yes, I don't think Gene Gnomesy was going anywhere in the music business. In any event, I see that you've been hard at work. Are you ready for our game? Yes, and... Oh, Plutify, I can take those now. Thanks for the help. Ford looks like he just noticed you standing there for the first time since he entered the room. Plutify, glad to see you weren't too shaken up by our adventure yesterday. You grin and hand Dipper the tall stacks of paper, catching a glimpse of the stats for a knock-knock skull. That's funny. Well, I made it back in one piece, right? That's the spirit, though 90% of a piece would have been good too, you know. You never realize how little a difference 10% makes until you lose it. So how is the Mothman? Shaken up, all in the name of research, though. I've seen it lose a few moths and come back in the next week good as new. A process akin to cycling out dead cells. I'd say we just expedited that process. No moral issues there. Well, Plutify, the game calls and I must answer. Stanley's about... If you're looking for him, though, well, if you wanted to join a game, I certainly wouldn't object. I can promise a fun afternoon. Another player? Yeah, totally. I can give you a pre-made character sheet to start and dice. Shoot, where'd I put my other set? Don't worry. I've got an extra set. Neat. I don't even know how to play it, guys. Fun fact, here's a deep voicey boy lore drop. I'm very familiar with D&D, so this will be a breeze. Man, he's a man after my own heart. We have so much in common. Oh man, there are so many rules. Where to start? I mean, it's really easy to pick up. It's even like kind of popular now. You're not sure about committing to the whole afternoon to this game with Ford, though Dipper does seem pretty excited about it. But Stan's around too, and if you wanted to check in on your car... Well, think about it, Plutify. Dipper, my boy, why don't you get things set up in the meantime? Ford and Dipper launch into a fantasy lore talk as they prop up a corkboard against the yellow armchair, pin up various maps and floor plans with important landmarks, and upbend their pouches of dice into the carpet. Come on. You all know we're joining that game. That's to join their game. Great! Oh shoot, did you look at the plans earlier? Those were for the Dungeon Master's eyes only. If I'd known you were gonna join us... Yes, I did. I know all your plans. All of them.
God. Okay, well,
Ha ha, very funny. Or to you. Google 4, do you think they... What? Sorry, I was rereading this passage on Torment architecture. They've really improved their illustrations, so I can't say the same for their prose. Dipper and Ford put the final pieces in their place. The floor is encircled in a mix of propped up corkboards, books, maps, notes, and loose leaf paper. Ford unfolds the game board in the center of the madness. Brilliant, we're all ready. Don't look so nervous, Plu and I. You'll have me to walk you through it. Oh. I think I just did. Whew. Ford sits down next to the game board. He pats a piece of carpet next to him, inviting you to sit, and you do. Dipper sits across from you and on the other side of the game board, and unfolds an illustrated piece of cardboard. Propping it up in front of him, he notices your questioning gaze on it and looks back at you. Oh yeah, this is the Dungeon Master screen. It's just to protect my secrets. It hides essential die rolls and plot points from prying player eyes. Uncle Ford tried to look ahead once or twice and spoil the narrative twist, and you were the only player. Just making sure my dungeon mastering apprentice stays on his toes. He can never be too vigilant. I actually do that when I play D&D, because I sit next to my DM and I low-key be peeking over. But don't tell him I said that. Dipper gathers up his dice in a pile next to the DM screen, ready to roll when needed. Now, I mentioned an extra dice set, didn't I? Dice are important, though by no means essential, component of gameplay. No adventurer should leave their house without a set. I keep mine in a souvenir velvet dice bag from Dimension, a local game store. Yes. Ford retrieves a dark drawstring bag from his coat and empties it onto the floor, where the dice of all different shapes and sizes come tumbling out. And now for yours. Ford pours another matching drawstring bag from the depths of the coat. Wait, it's matching. I hope it's bubblegum pink. They're having a buy one get one discount. Go ahead, take a look. These will be yours for the session. You pour these dice under the carpet in metallic gold with numbers embossed in black. Fancy. Well, I didn't have enough left to make them from solid gold. I was able to electroplate a set for fun. Great Uncle Ford, you electroplated those dice? They're so nice. That didn't mean to rhyme. Maybe you should be the one with the rapping career, not Jane Omsey. Ford and Dipper laugh. Yeah, maybe not. But anyway, let me reintroduce our characters. Dipper clears his throat, settling into the Dungeon Master persona. When we last left our heroes, Viv the Meddling trapped the great elven wizard Vernan and halfling fighter Tyros in a dungeon filled to the brim with puzzles, riddles, and brain teasers. To reach Miv and end this journey once and for all, they'll have to brave the dungeon's mysteries and escape with their lives intact. Dipper sets two figurines side by side on the game board. One is an imposing figure in flowing robes, and the other is much shorter in comparison, but posed with a will to prove himself. You suppose the former is Vernan, the latter is Tyros. What would our two heroes find in the first room of the dungeon but a potential ally, just as trapped as they are, who will join them in their quest for freedom? Dipper places three figures on the carpet, just after the game board. And you get to choose your character now, Plu and I. They are starters with pre-made templates, so they're good for short notice editions like this. Choose your character. Human, bard, dwarf fighter, orc rogue.
We're the bard.
Dwarf. I could play a human in my campaign. Don't worry, guys. Every time a bard thing comes up, I'll go, "Never stop, I'm believing." Bards use invigorating song to encourage their allies or to blow off their insults to damage their enemies. I've kind of reevaluated my stance on bards lately. You'll come in handy if we encounter any undead. Will we? Maybe. Hey, stop trying to play ahead. Be a human bard? Yes. Dipper moves your figurine onto the board beside Vernon and Thyros. Alright, what's their name going to be? Alex for short. Alexanderios. You hear Ford trying Alexanderios under his breath a few times. Oh my god, it's getting serious.
Oh man.
Man, our whiz is low. Our charisma is high though. Loot, candles, costume, water skin, discard kit. Okay. I'll just call them Alex. Here's your character sheet. It's got all the info on it. Our heroes encounter Alexandrios, Alex for short, in the first room of the dungeon. We will be metagaming this, fellas. We will be saving and going back.
Oh yeah.
Alex, what's your deal with our main villain, Miv the Meddling? Miv murdered my family and now I seek revenge. Miv promised me eternal glory but left a dagger in my back instead. I just woke up here with a headache. Ford, help me. I think eternal glory.
That's a little bit like Ford's story. I wonder if he'll not like that. Because that's literally his backstory.
Oh. I didn't even realize that. I was just thinking about it because it sounds like a very Bard story, and it was the most.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Alex explains how she struck Miv's ire, and in turn Tyros shares that Miv once bested him in a duel, an embarrassment because Miv is a sorcerer, and sorcerers aren't known for their physical combat skills. In Tyros' defense, he was young at the time. But none of this matters because they finally face down Miv. They must escape. Behind you is a plain door. On the far wall of the room is a set of red doors, and to the left and right are old stained glass windows with weirdly familiar motifs on them. So Shooting Star Mabel, Pine Tree Dipper, Ford, and that's Stan. Proceed with caution, homies. So that proceed with caution, homies. That's definitely Sue. There's Bill up here, and then I don't know what that is, but
There's Bill and another Stan, and then
oh yeah. Okay. Having woken up here with no recollection of getting here at all, you have no way of knowing which door you came in, should go out of, or even what direction you should head in at all. And now you guys decide what you want to do. You might want to look around first. And by that, of course, we mean rolling a die to see if we can notice anything. The outcome of nearly every substantial choice we make is tied to a roll of the dice. I'll let you choose what to do here, Plutify. Then I'll take a look around. Ford shows you what to roll for the investigation check, and Dipper flips through his notebook, ready to tell you what you see. Huh, nice roll. Tacked to one of the walls in this room is another reads, proceed with caution, homies. Tears pockets the note, and in the distance you hear a faint sound of rushing water. What do you do next? What's the state of the door behind us? See for yourself. I'm still the DM. I can't respond unless you check the door. Ford casts Detect Magic, and after confirming it with Dipper that there's no magic behind the door, pushes it open. The three of you leap through the door. Nice. And the last of you step through the doorway, it melts, seeping into the wall as if it were never there. Guess we're not coming back that way. The chandelier overhead ignites, casting the room in a war orange glow, and revealing an impressive door on the far wall. In front of it is a large cloth-covered lump. What do you think?
I don't know.
I think I would take a look around if it were me, but sometimes that is a double-edged sword.
Why is that?
Because it could be something we don't want to interact with.
Mm.
But I'm curious. Maybe Ford would like if I'm curious. And start playing along, you know? I'm doing it. You roll for investigation, just like earlier. You approach it to inspect it. As your footsteps grow near, the lump shifts, rising to reveal that it is in fact a goblin. The goblin stands to attention and tries to pretend it was never asleep. Travelers, I notice thee, and demand you answer these riddles 3. Insult the goblin, attack the goblin, answer the riddles. I'm gonna answer the riddles.
I will use Google, I swear to God. It's an actual riddle, I will use Google.
The goblin reaches into his the horse's name was Friday! The goblin reaches into his pocket, pulling out a crumpled piece of paper that he unfolds with care. What has 88 keys but can't open a single door? A piano. Right?
Yeah.
I've heard this one before. It's a piano, right? Next, what kind of keys cannot open doors? Monkeys. Dude.
Let Ford. I don't know.
A turnkey. Oh, yeah, I was not getting that. Finally, we have.
I don't know what a
first thing you
turnkey
did on your
is.
adventure. Look around. The door is now open to you. Fabulous, homies. The goblin steps aside to let you go through the doorway. And with that, you've cleared my goblin puzzle. Well, a fourth of them, anyway. It could have gone so many other ways. Dipper then beams, and you follow his line of sight to realize it's because Ford just gave Dipper an encouraging smile of his own. Dude, I'm glad Ford knew the answer to those, because...
Yeah, because...
As soon as you enter this next room, the wall melds over the doorway, sealing you in. Glancing around, the far wall of the room seems to be on a different material and color than the rest. Though it could just be the lighting. To the left, you see rows of orbs affixated on the wall. I'm gonna look at the wall. You look at it and confirm it's a different color than the rest. Can I knock on it? You see Dipper give you a small smile, knowing what you're looking for. You knock along the wall and find that one section sounds hollow. As soon as you realize that, the next knock opens up a gap in the wall, which reveals itself to be a door. I'm going through.
I mean, we've been careful this whole time.
Yeah. As soon as you enter the room, you're struck by how different it looks from the rest of the dungeon. A small chamber is elaborate with colorful cushions, rugs, and a dining table that holds a half-eaten feast. Next to the feast, a mouse examines a few empty goblets on the table. The mouse sees the party and beckons you to come into the room. There's been a crime. Someone has stolen my precious silver sword. You three look like heroes. Won't you help me? When I arrived in my room, I found these three suspects: a gnome, a kobold, and an owl bear. I knew someone was going to come up and try to steal my precious sword, so I set the wondrous feast as a trap for the thieves. You and Ford share a look at the idea that a mouse would somehow be living it up in an evil sorcerer's puzzle dungeon. I left them 3 goblets. The first held the true serum, the other 2 a lying serum. I don't know which one of these creatures drank from which, so I was going to hold an interrogation when they woke up. But you're here now, oh heroes. Won't you help me figure out who stole my sword? I'm afraid that if I uncover the culprit, they'll slay me in cold blood, delicate mouse that I am. Well, alright. Took the words right from my mouth, Plu. Let's get on with the interrogation. You approach each sleeping creature in turn, waking them up with a few shakes and asking them who stole the silver sword. The gnomes say, I didn't do it, the kobold did it alone. The kobold says, I didn't do it, the owlbear did. And the owlbear says, I didn't do it, the gnome did it alone.
I think that the kobold is the one that didn't do it because the owlbear and the gnome say I didn't do it, the gnome did it alone.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they did it together.
All of them. I think it was the owlbear and the gnome. The mouse looks dumbfounded at how fast you figured it out, but soon turns her attention back to the thieves. Nice job. Now cough up the sword, you thieves. The owlbear digs within their feathers to reveal an ornate polished silver sword, and the gnome retrieves a matching scabbard from under their hat. You ate that up, Pluto. The mouse looks down at the returned sword happily and then looks at the party. I realize now that keeping this sword is more trouble than it's worth. Here, you have it. I've only ever used it as a conversation starter because it can cut through silver. Perhaps with you, it'll finally have some use. The mouse bestows a silver sword upon your party. You move forward, leaving the mouse's room behind and come to another doorway. While Dipper's flipping through his notebook for the next part in the dungeon, Ford nudges you, holding a hand up for a high 6. I want to eat him up. That was a nice job, Solidify. I'm impressed you got the riddle. Is it hot in here, or is it just a side effect of the green glass door disintegrating? You high 6 Ford beaming as Dipper finds the page he needed to continue the game. Is it just me, or is it really hot he has an extra finger? Like, I'm really into that. I'm like, really into that. Through the doorway, the air feels damper than before. The sound of rushing water from earlier is only intensified. On the wall to your left, you see a bell. I ring the bell. It may have been a trap, or it may have been the right thing to do, because the floor opens beneath you and the 3 of you land in a boat. It hovers above the rushing river below, ready to start its trip on command. Dipper takes a folded piece of paper in his notebook and hands it to you and Ford. It reads, Next stop upstream, Beast's antechamber, 3 giant strides away. Next stop downstream, the mirror room, 3 giant strides away. Get off the boat at your own risk. I'm guessing we don't go to the Beast's antechambers. Can I check the river speed? You find that the river flows at 2 giant strides per tip of hourglass. So what do you want to do? So when do you want to stop the boat? 30 minutes. Next stop upstream, Beast antechambers. Downstream. So 2.
God damn it, I'm stupid.
I believe it'd be 1.5, but would that get us the... I don't understand upstream and downstream. Can we select? Like, what do you mean?
Well, so we're in a boat, and the boat is flowing no matter what. So we're gonna go downstream. We're gonna go with the flow, which would be downstream, right? Because upstream would be against the current. And it wouldn't matter whichever one we picked, because, I mean, they're both 3 giant strides away. So 1.5,
But I
that's
think
one,
this would
so
make
that's
it
two.
6 strides if it's upstream. Like maybe it would take double time. You know?
I don't know. So yeah, I guess it's just where do we want to go?
Guys, I'm doing 1.5. Nicely done. You can. Oh, it was just math. We made it stupid. We were too stupid to realize it was easy. You command the boat to take you 1.5 tips of the hourglass, following the flow of the river. The boat comes to stop at the entrance of a hallway, and the three of you step out onto the familiar stone floor. Burning torches line the walls, lighting the hallway brightly as you enter. As you walk forward, you notice your steps are visible in the thick layer of dust on the floor. This place smells odd. At the end of the hallway, these are the knock-knock skulls, I think. At the end of the hallway, the part approaches a set of 2 giant oak doors. Pluto, roll to see how aware you are of the surroundings. You roll and are unsuccessful. Alex steps on something. A trap panel sat on the floor. You watch in astonishment as a ghostly skull floats out of it, rising about eye level, just in front of the oak doors. You expect it to speak or do something, but it just floats there. What do you do? Inspect the skull. Inspect the door. Because they're knock-knock skulls.
Yeah.
We're metagaming in the game. So I think inspect the skull. Or inspect the door. Inspect the door because I think wait, maybe you have to knock on the skull.
Wait, but we also don't know that yet.
Well, we metagamed it.
We metagamed in the
I told him we
metagaming.
knew. I told him we knew. The skull looks non-human, but you don't know enough to say what species it is. Inspect the door. You don't know much about doors, but you can tell these ones are giant oak and that there's 2 of them.
I'd open it.
Okay. Just as you're about to touch the door, the skull speaks. Knock! The voice is loud and booming, enough to match the grandeur of the giant oak doors behind it. Brendan knocks on the door. The skull asks, "Who's there?" Knock, knock, right? You have to knock twice. Knock on the door again. The skull huffs in frustration, and the trap panel below your feet opens, dropping you. Oh, did I do it wrong?
Yeah, I think that was wrong.
Okay, let's go back. Silly dipper. I saved it! Yes.
1.5.
Yeah. Open the door. Answer the skull. Spell. Spell who? W-H-O. Differ glance at the classic. That is terrible. Okay, next. The skull demands no more joke offerings. Knock knock. Who's there? To. To who? It's to whom? He's so stupid. He's so stupid. And this one gets Dipper to laugh, whether through the sheer smugness in Ford's voice or the otherwise. Alright, you both pass. The door opens and we will burst through the doorway. I knew it! You always make those voices when you're playing that nerd game. Politify, you're playing with them too? How's homework, the game? Actually, we're telling knock-knock jokes. Mabel gasps. I could be all of you. Get ready for this. Knock knock. Who's there? Clean clothes. Clean clothes who? Yeah, I thought you'd forgotten what clean clothing looks like. Mabel, jeez, we're in front of a guest right now. Mabel laughs and leaves again, but not before directing you a pair of finger guns. Good luck seducing that hot elf. Wait, she's such a good wingman. Wait, how does she know he plays an elf? And he plays an elf? I did not see that coming for him.
Oh, this is... I know, you're not in the know enough. We haven't watched the episode.
I'm sorry. He plays an elf though, right? Or is there just...
I don't think so.
Oh, I don't know. Sorry,
But I think this is a part of the actual TV series. I'm not going to spoil it for you, though.
Okay, Dipper calls out after her. That hot elf isn't even in this campaign. Anyways, he didn't admit. He admitted he was hot. Anyways, like I was saying. The joke quota met. The skull gives you a curt nod and floats back into the trap panel. The oak doors open and the 3 of you step through. To freedom. And there it is, the end of the dungeon. I cut it down a bit on the fly. I don't want to make it too long. I would have run a murder mystery I had planned out for ages, but my test runs have never gone very well with my focus group. So what did you think? Too many puzzles, not enough story. All the games always are short. What happens next? When do we fight the sorcerer? Wait, I think we should say what happens next so they invite us back.
Yeah.
So what happens next? When do we fight the sorcerer? This is actually a transition into the next super plot-centric campaign about infiltrating the sorcerer's tower castle. Dipper shows you a couple pages of his campaign book, which looks filled with various dungeon sketches with realistic physics calculations crowded into every spare space. Well, Dipper, I think you did well. It's not easy adding an extra player in on short notice like that. I always write it in just in case. Not completely, just a few notes. Ford and Dipper launch into the conversation about dungeon mastering as they clean up the D&D AMD setup, returning to the game components to the original glossy fantasy box. They're too fast and practice for you to figure out how to help, so you just pack up the dice Ford lent you and return them to the original velvet bag. Dipper leaves to put the AMD box back upstairs, and then it's just you and Ford. Plutified, you did well for a first timer. I take you into a dungeon with me. I mean, Ford gives you an embarrassed look, and you're already smiling at him yourself. I know what you meant. Thanks, Ford. A call comes from the kitchen. From what sounds like Stan. Haha, well, I'd talk more, but I'd better see what he needs. Ford moves past you, heading towards the kitchen. You suddenly feel the need to hold on to this moment, like you need to say something. Ford? Yes? Now that he's looking at you again, you don't remember what you were going to say. All you say is, oh, she saw me. Like, let's just look at me again. Here's your set of dice back. Thanks for letting me use it. Ford chuckles, shaking his head. No, you keep it, in case you decide to join us again. See you at dinner, Plutify. Why is it not that close? I thought I did everything right. Am I bad at this?